The fire was discovered shortly before 9 o'clock last night.
The Beverly Hills Supper Club was the showplace of the Midwest.
May 28, 1977, a fire broke out inside the Beverly Hills Supper Club in Southgate.
Within a minute, however, the diners began smelling smoke. Then they panicked.
So the Beverly Hills Supper Club was a place to be seen and a place to see. So supper clubs are this very mid-century America, mid-20th century America thing, where particularly white people and relatively wealthy families would go to dinner and a show. So you would dress in your nines, your church best, have a fancy meal of some sort, and see a performer. Anyone from just like a local comedian through huge names like Perry Como and the Rat Pack and folks like that. So it was a place that provided entertainment, but also provided sort of the hobnobbing of people either who saw themselves as upper class or wanted to play at being upper class. That night in May 1977 was by all accounts beautiful, and it drew a large crowd to the Beverly Hills. Performer John Davidson was very popular. He had sort of a local following.
Our major story this evening, maybe the major story we've had in Cincinnati for a long time.
The Beverly Hills Supper Club fire. He was the headline act. He always drew a crowd.
I was one of the lucky ones that got out through a door that was just put in the year before.
Davidson escaped through the back door entrance to the dressing rooms. He was seen holding an exit door as others escaped.
People were enjoying their dinner. They hadn't even started performing yet. There was a comedian who was a warm-up act. And some folks believed that when the waiter came into the Zebra Room to announce the fire, that it was part of the act.
The busboy went up on the stage and he told people, if you're firing a building, you need to get out of it. Well, a substantial number of them, a substantial part of them, took that seriously and got out of the building. But there were a whole bunch of others that didn't take it seriously. They sat there. And then sometime after that, not too long after that, the fire stormed down a hallway from that showroom up there, or from that dining area where the fire had started, and came down and stormed, just blasted into that showroom, and then they panicked.
I believe that it was due to electrical wiring. At that time, they found that there was copper wiring and aluminum wiring mixed in a box. That's a dangerous thing. It used to be done a lot, but it produces heat buildup because of the difference in the two metals, and it can very easily and has started fires. The information that I had at the time was that it started in one of the party rooms very near the front entrance. We suited up in our turnout gear, jumped in the respective equipment, and started responding emergency to the fire. We looked over towards Beverly Hills, and we could see flames coming through the roof, so that we knew it was going to be a working evening for us.
Folks were panicked, and it was basically a stampede to get out. The building burned for more than a day because electrical fires are very difficult to take out.
The chief came up to our window and advised Harbor, I want you to suit up with a self-contained breathing apparatus. I want you to go over. There is a side room, side entrance parallel to 27. He said, Harbor, you're not worrying about fighting any fire right now. He said the hose is your safety line so you can get out if you need to. I just want you to see if you can find anybody alive and get them out. So I suited up, went in that doorway, crawling, which is normally in a fire that we would do to stay low, keep out of the heat. Basically, I was crawling almost face down on the floor. It was so hot in there. If I raised above that crouch, I could feel my ears starting to burn.
The thing that caused so much loss was that the exits were blocked or they didn't exist.
That's when the deaths occurred. The deaths occurred almost entirely around the exits, crowded up the exits, and they couldn't get out.
pretty much all of the people that we transported were victims of smoke inhalation, no burns, anything like that, which you might expect. But it was smoke inhalation. Many of them were serious to the point that I had to keep bagging them to support their respirations until we got them to the hospital. After, say about 1 o'clock, we began moving bodies to actually military vehicles, 2.5-ton Army trucks, loading them in that to take them to a temporary morgue at the Tower Park.
And then, you know, the long days of identifying victims of the fire.
The second largest loss of life in a public building. 165 people died that night. Of the 165 dead, we had 163 out that night. Over the next 2 days, while, as I said, I was on standby in the squad, we recovered 2 more bodies to make it 165. That prompted probably the biggest change in years in fire safety regulations and so forth.
Those regulations that come after the fire are so important because they've kept people safe. They've made it safer for us to gather in groups and to do the things that we love to do, and it's awful that it took a tragedy for that to happen. But I think the other thing about the Supper Club, and something that often gets overlooked because so much of its story is that night in 1977 and nothing else, are all of the really incredible things that happened there every other day but May 1977. People got married there, people celebrated their graduations, new jobs, new babies, new lives. People had first dates and last dates and, you know, their Tuesday afternoons there. So as much as the fire defines the Supper Club, it's not the only thing. And if we do it justice as historians in the 21st century, we need to tell all of that.